Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, my dear brothers and sisters. Welcome back to joining us in our discussion tonight on Surah 102 of the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Takathur. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a Muslim or you're a non-Muslim. There's certain petty quarrels that you always see people having. And these quarrels sometimes are on the pettiest issues you can imagine. Issues such as, for example, who has more friends than the other, who has more links than the other, who has more contacts than the other, who has, for example, more properties than the other. It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim living in the 21st century, or you're a member of the Jewish community in Medina, or you're a member of the Quraysh. All of them had this particular trait in them where the human being would entertain themselves with things which distract them and take them away from the reality of this world. And that sometimes even happens in our gatherings. And that's the basis of Surah Al-Takathur. Because straight away, when you think of the word Takathur, you straight away have that impression or that image that we're discussing something which relates to, for example, me claiming that I have more than you on a particular area, or I'm bigger than you on a certain area, or I have done more than you on a certain area. So let's go straight to the surah and let's see what's happening. Now, Surah Al-Takathur is looked at as either Mekki or Madani. And I think that it's plausible that it could be revealed in Mecca, but it could apply to different instances, okay? So what you have is this discussion that if it's in Mecca, it refers to the members of Meccan society. And if it's in Medina, it refers to both the members of the Jewish community and the members of the Ansar of Medina. Now, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhaakum al-Takathur. Alhaakum. Your numbers have distracted you. You know, in life, we get distracted by some crazy things. And these distractions surround us everywhere. And what you can clearly tell from the first ayah of Surah Al-Takathur is that what's distracting either the people in Mecca or the people in Medina is something related to their numbers. What could it be? One opinion about the Sabab al-Nuzul of Surah Al-Takathur was that these different groups of people would be distracted by talking about who the greatest people are from their groups. We had so-and-so. Okay, we had so-and-so. Well, we had that guy. Well, we had that guy. We had those people. We had those people. We had 17. You had 21. We had 37. We had 43. And sometimes it even happens in our communities that we get distracted on these areas where at the end there becomes the biggest arka, the biggest fight. And you're like, what were we fighting about? And that is exactly what was happening in that early society. Even in our lives, you'll find the petty things we have fights over are unbelievable. And in that society, the fights they were having were fights that even reached the graveyard when they were there going towards the graveyard. Because we know very well that if you imagine you're living in Mecca or in Medina and you have this maqbara. Now when you have this maqbara, imagine you're sitting amongst each other and you've now, for example, discussed how many houses do you own in Medina? You're like, bro, I own 1. Okay, I own 2. Okay, but how many flats do you own? I own 4. Well, I own 6. How many children do you have? Well, I got 7. I got 9. How much money do you have? And I've got 1 million. I've got 6 million. That is what we call lahu. Something you're entertaining yourselves with, which is far away from what you should be discussing. مرات الإنسان قاعد بالبيت, you're sitting at home. You know what? How many Facebook friends do you have? Because I got 600. I got 900. You don't have as many as me. Bro, how many years did you study in Hausa? And I studied 3. I studied 11. All these things that you discuss amongst each other, bil-akhir, where's it taking you? You're discussing who's got more this, who's got more that. Where does it take you at the end? These people, amongst the reasons of the revelation of this surah, was that they would fight each other. Okay, you fight each other, mathalan, about your children, about your money. Do you agree? So you place your money in front of you in life and your children to try and say, look how much I have, kuthra, I have kathir, I have the best of wealth, I have so many children. Even the Quran mentions wonderfully in Surah 63 verse number 9 that don't be a hypocrite who focuses or who gets distracted by these things. Surah 63 verse number 9 of the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us that don't be of those people who gets distracted by petty fights about who owns what, who studied where, who has the most letters after their name. You look in Surah 63 verse number 9, you've all read the Surah Al-Munafiqun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, you people who claim to have iman. لا تلهكم أموالكم ولا أولادكم عن ذكر الله ومن يفعل ذلك فأولئك هم الخاسرون. The ayah in the Quran in Surah Al-Munafiqun, look at where the ayah is. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in Surah Al-Munafiqun, meaning those of you who think you're a mu'min, don't be of those. اتلهون نفسكم بالحج الميفيد. What are you discussing? Look at the Quran says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tulhikum amwalukum wa la awladukum an dhikrillah. هذا, he comes to the other. And I got 3 kids. What do you have? You got 1 kid? Or you know what? Do you know how many shops we own? I know we have this many in that road. We have that many in that road. We have that many in that road. What do you have? This is taking me away min dhikrillah. Then on the contrary, I should be discussing how we should be thankful to Allah for what we have. Not discussing, I have this, what do you have? I have that, what do you have? I have this, what do you have? Members of the community there in Medina, imagine the 2 of them, the 2 groups. How many kids do you guys have? We have 3. How many do you have? We have 7. How many do you have? We have this. إلى and what? ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم الله أكبر. Look at the 2 meanings here which are possible. Your numbers have deceived you even until you reach the maqbara. Because they say that when the Arabs reach the maqbara, you know what? You know you said that you have that many awlad? I have that many as well. But how many of the amwad do you have? You go, what do you mean how many amwad? You go, this maqbara, who's got more? My family or your family? We have this also in Arab countries. Maqbarat al fulan. They'll tell you, احنا هنا هاي مقبرتنا. We have this next to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. We have a maqbara next to Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. So we have this person. شوف هذا جدي وجد جدي وابن عمي وابن خالتي. All my cousins are all buried here. Here the Quran says ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر. يعني أنتوا وصلتوا للمقبرة. One meaning. You got to the maqbara, you got to the graveyard, even in the graveyard. You know what they used to say? That one's our cousin, that's my brother, that's my auntie, that's my uncle, that's my granddad. The other guy's like, who cares? My uncle, my cousin, my auntie, my brother, my uncle, my auntie, my brother, my cousin. Unbelievable. When you go to the graveyard, and nobody describes this better than Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam in Nahj al-Balagha. In Nahj al-Balagha, Imam Ali alayhi salam highlights how these people unfortunately were affected. They were affected by what? By their numbers. By entertaining themselves. Bilkhali balash. Things which take you away, which distract you. Imam Ali alayhi salam, what does he say wonderfully in Nahj al-Balagha? He looks and he says in sermon 221 of Nahj al-Balagha, talking about Alhaakum al-Takathur hatta zurtum al-Maqabir, he said, from achievement is their aim. How neglectful are these visitors? How difficult is their affair? They had not taken lessons from things which are full of lessons, but they took them from far off places. Do they boast on the dead bodies of their forefathers? Or do they regard the number of dead persons as a grounds for feeling boastful of their numbers? They want to revive the bodies that have become spiritless and the moments that have ceased, those which are more entitled to be a source of lesson than a source of pride. And those are more suitable for being a source of humility than of honor. What do we see? What does Imam Ali say here in the sermon in Nahj al-Balagha? Imam Ali is saying that when you're going there, unfortunately, do you know what's happened to you? You've gone to the maqbara, a place where you're meant to take lessons from those who have died. You've ended up having a fight about how many people from your tribe have died. A person, when they go to the graveyard, ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر. يعني even من زرت المقابر. You get to the graveyard. You get to the graveyard is meant to be a moment of reflection. It's meant to be a moment where I realize that even all the properties I own, all the money I have, all the children I have, بالأخير يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. When I sit by the grave, I realize that one day I'm going to be 6 feet under the ground. I realize that what if I put forward so that my mizan is of those فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَهُوَ فِي عِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ. بالأخير, what am I doing? بالأخير, I get to the maqbara. And while I'm in the maqbara, all I'm talking about is Fulan ibn Ammi is buried here. The aim of visiting the graveyards in the Muslim community, like any community, is a moment of reflection, is a moment of silence. Isn't a moment for you to show off to your friend that look how many people we have, or look how great our graves are. They're made of marble and we have the biggest grave in the whole maqbara. There are certain people, wallah, they'll go to the maqbara and they'll say, do you know what? We have the best grave in this whole maqbara. That's not the point. The point is that into ألهاكم التكاثر, التكاثر, which are ni'am from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, you have lots of money. Alhamdulillah, you have lots of people in your family. That shouldn't be a reason to boast. It should be a reason to humble yourself. Therefore here, when the Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر. One meaning is literally زيارة القبور. That when you go to that ziyarah, you end up doing what? They literally ended up being distracted by saying what? We have 51 people in maqbara until you only have 47. We're better than you. That's one meaning. And sadly, even now when I look in the Muslim world, until today, us Shia are accused of being what? ذولا يعبدون القبور. ذولا عندهم بدع ويا القبور. These people worship the graves. Ya Habibi. I don't know how much more we have to say. That when we go to the maqbara, like you go, like Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi would go when he lost his child, for example, or he'd go to Jannat al-Baqi'. And he'd go to Jannat al-Baqi'. He'd send his salams to the people in the graveyard. Why? Because there are ibar to be taken from those who have died before us. Those who have died before us. What are the ibar? Al-kafan has no pockets. Al-kafan has no pockets. So you're not going to take all of that into your pocket. At the end of the day, you could have gathered so much. Well, alhamdulillah. Imam Ali says, live in this world like you're going to live in it forever. But plan for the day of judgment as if it is tomorrow. Lovely balance. Live in this world like you're going to live in it forever. If you got to make investments, make investments. You want to build a large family? Build a large family. Live as if you're going to live in it forever. But plan for the day of judgment as if it's tomorrow. That balance is what Islam was looking for. The first meaning, therefore, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر was what? The first meaning, literally, راحوا للمقابر. And the second meaning is no. ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر means that your numbers have deceived you until eventually you were buried in the grave. Not you went to the graveyard. ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر, until there's a day where you realized that these numbers have deceived us, until when you get to that grave, what happens? كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون. I ask my brothers and sisters watching at home, why كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون? Why not just straight away كلا سوف تعلمون? That's it. One opinion, which is an interesting one, of all the opinions that are given, put aside the rhetoric of emphasis, كلا سوف تعلمون refers to the questioning of the qabr. ثم كلا سوف تعلمون, when you are raised from the qabr بيوم القيامة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر. بالأخير راح تزور المقبرة. I remember Bahlul. We always say these stories, nice stories about Bahlul. Anecdotal stories. Bahlul, as we all know, used to act majnoon in front of Harun al-Rashid and so on. And one day, Bahlul acting all crazy and so on, Harun al-Rashid said, what do you want? What is it? He said, give me the keys to the prisons. He has taken the keys of the prisons. Harun al-Rashid has gone out. He comes back. One of the security guards of Harun al-Rashid comes to him. He goes to him, there's a problem. He said, what is it? He said, all the prisoners have been released. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, I don't know. Someone had the keys. He's opened every prison in the whole of Baghdad and everybody's been released. He's like, oh, Bahlul. He's now gone looking for Bahlul. Now he's gone looking for Bahlul. Where's Bahlul? Where's Bahlul? They told him Bahlul's in the graveyard. When they've told him Bahlul's in the graveyard, he's got to the graveyard and he's seen Bahlul. When he's seen Bahlul, Bahlul, how comes you're here? He goes, I heard that everyone was looking for me. Eventually everyone will come here. Bil-akhir, where's everyone going to be? That's it. So therefore, ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر كلا سوف تعلمون. تعلمون شنو? That this takathur or tafakhur about who's got the most money in London, who's the richest guy in Iraq. Bil-akhir, you get to that grave, you and the poorest person are the same. مو بس the same. كلا سوف تعلمون. We have a lot of questions to ask you. Come here. Come here. Because we warned you in Surah 57. There's a lovely ayah, Surah 57, Surah Al-Hadid, verse number 20. We warned you in the Quran about this. When the Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is an ayah which is very interesting because it relates to Surah Al-Takathur and many aspects of our lives. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد. Unbelievable. This world's life is only sport, play, happiness, boasting amongst yourselves, vying in multiplication of wealth and children, like the rain, whose causing the vegetation to grow pleases the farmer. Then it withers away, so that you will see it become yellow. Then it becomes dried up, and then it breaks down. And in the hereafter is given a severe chastisement. And also forgiveness from Allah is possible and His pleasure. Bil-akhir, there's no problem enjoying money and enjoying having lots of children. But bil-akhir, what's it really all going to come down to? Me and you are going to go 6 feet under the ground. Either I go 6 feet under the ground ready, or my priorities in this world, what were they? How many Facebook followers do I have? How many do I have on Instagram? How many contacts do I have? How many this, how many that? Bil-akhir, when you're in the qabr, they're going to help you? Are there certain people in the qabr they can do shafa'ah for you? Yes, there are. If you then pay allegiance to them more than your links here, who's going to be more useful? كَلَّا سَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ. Means what? Means that you're eventually going to realize هَلْ تَكَاثُرْ لَهَاكُمْ so much that you're now going to realize in the grave there's going to be a questioning. So the first one, كَلَّا سَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ is what? You shall know when you're in the grave that takathur, with tafakhur on these things means nothing anymore. Because we have as'ila about your aqeedah we need to ask you. ثُمَّ كَلَّا سَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ. Not just in the grave. بيوم القيامة we're going to raise you. Now tell me, التكاثر بالأولاد والأموال, it's helping you today? كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين لترون الجحيم. If you had known with what? With certain knowledge, you should most certainly have even seen hell while you're here. Meaning what? On the one hand, there are certain people who in this world, they see hell in front of them. They can reach a level called كَلَّا لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عِلْمَ الْيَقِينِ. Now we have 3 types of certainty. علم اليقين, عين اليقين, حق اليقين. What's the difference between the 3? I have knowledge of fire. I saw a tragic incident like the Grenfell Tower. May God bless the souls of those who died. I've seen fire. And then I one day got burnt by fire. I went from a world of knowledge of certainty to seeing the certainty, to burning directly in the certainty. علم اليقين, عين اليقين, حق اليقين. علم اليقين is a level that is still high. طبعا يقين is a gift from Allah. It's not distributed easily. لأن in life there is nothing like yaqeen. لأن if you look at the levels of our understanding of something in life, either you have yaqeen or sometimes you have itmi'nan. Are you certain? Are you sure? There's a difference more. عندك يقين, اطمئنان, عندك ظن, suspicion, عندك وهم, imagine it could be, عندك شك, doubtful. The best gift Allah could give you is yaqeen. But its distribution is not easy. But if you reach a level where of that certainty, then you could even walk on air more than Jesus walked on water. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam met some people who said, you know, Nabi Isa used to walk on water. He goes, if you had his certainty, you could even walk on air. That level of yaqeen, that level of certainty is what we all need to ask Allah for. That, Ya Allah, please give me that yaqeen when I wear hijab. There are some of our girls in our community. They're brilliant girls. They are girls who have served in more ways than one. They have the best akhlaq. But sometimes they go through doubts. And that doubt comes where the shak comes in them. Is hijab wajib? Do I need to? Do I look ugly in it? Will anyone marry me? Will I look good in front of my clients? Will I look... Because what happens? Marat, the number of clients I have, the number of patients I have, Al-Takathur, into you're concerned about those. And you're always thinking to yourself, if I don't wear hijab in like a modern way, if I don't loosen the hijab, then I won't have that many followers on Instagram, that many followers on Facebook. I can't be around celebrities and so on. Alhaakum al-takathur. Don't let those numbers distract you from the reality. Ask Allah for yaqeen, where when you're living in this world, it's as if every act you do, it's as if you've seen the reality of Jahannam. Because here Allah is saying, كَلَّا لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عِلْمَ الْيَقِينِ لَتَرَوُنَّ الْجَحِيمِ. You'll most certainly see hell. Al-awliya, al-a'imma could see hell as if it's in front of them. They reach that level. Not just ilm of hell. ثُمَّ لَتَرَوُنَّهَا عَيْنَ الْيَقِينِ. Not just you have knowledge of hell, because one thing that really stops us from doing haram sometimes is when we hear qasas about Nar Jahannam. It makes you think, no, so why am I going to do that? I heard a lecture, if you do that, you're going to be burning. It's true. There are people who worship God out of fear of hell. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, that's the worship of a slave. There are those who worship God because they want Jannah. Imam Ali says, is the worship of a businessman. There are those who worship God because they found God worthy of being worshipped. Imam Ali says, worship of a free human. But you still have to start somewhere. And where do we normally start from? Jahannam, isn't that true? I'm not going to do that because I'm scared of hell. Here we may have reached a level of knowledge of hell. We've not seen hell. Allah says, even if you ask, you might be taken from knowledge of hell to actually looking at hell. Reaching a level literally where you can see hell. لَتَرَوُنَّ الْجَحِيمِ ثُمَّ لَتَرَوُنَّهَا. Then you shall most certainly see it with what? And that will be when for most of us? بيوم القيامة. Because look at the stages. ألهاكم التكاثر. زرتم المقابر. بالقبر. كلا سوف تعلمون. ثم يوم القيامة. كلا سوف تعلمون. Now you move from a world of ilm, of day of judgment. Now you see the day of judgment. Now you're in the world of it. When you get there, you're going to be asked a question. ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. Remember how I said in Surah Al-Qari'ah and this surah, Allah gives you the questions for the exam, you just got to revise. Allah is telling me that, listen, don't let these amwal wal awlad affect you. Trust me, you're going to come to the qabr, your awlad, and your amwal will not help you under the grave. You're going to definitely see it. If you don't believe me, you're going to see it. You're going to come on that day of judgment. You're going to see it directly in front of you, and I'm going to ask you. ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ. I'm going to ask you about every of the ni'am that I gave you. Then, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. I'm going to ask you about what? About the na'im. Question, which ni'am is Allah going to ask us about on the day of judgment? Is He going to ask us about our amwal and our awlad? It may have some questions on that. But what other ni'am Allah will ask us about? Allah will ask us about the cold water we had. Isn't that true? I know the water that I had, and I know there are children in Africa who don't have water. Therefore, when I'm doing wudu at home or I'm brushing my teeth, I can close that water. But why do I keep it running? Allah will ask me, لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. That water was a ni'mah I gave you. Why? When you're brushing your teeth. Why is it that you don't just close that tap? You let it run and run and run. That water could have helped people in other countries. Save it. Those plastic or other containers, you can recycle them. Yes. Try and think of others. So water is of the ni'am. I might be asked also about food, like for example bread. I might be asked about whether I done, for example, israf in that which I ate. Whether I wasted. There are certain people, he'll leave his plate. He doesn't mind if there's half rice in there. Wallah, sometimes I see this in some of our mosques. That there's all these plates full of food and people don't finish them. Okay, gather them and give them to the homeless. We're going to be asked about those. These are all ni'am. Do you agree? The bread I have, the water I have, the home I have, these are all ni'am. Imam al-Sadiq asked Abu Hanifa, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. What's it about? It's about, Abu Hanifa replied, it's about the morsels of food that we ate. Imam has given two different answers. One answer in one tradition is that he says it will be a very long day of judgment then if every single thing that we ate is the day of judgment. It's about every single thing you ate, every ingredient you ate. What type of day is that? I want to ask you about that particular meal you had. That meal had this tomato. I'm going to ask you about tomato. That cucumber. Parsley. The Yawm al-Qiyamah will never end. Do you agree? Secondly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is it right for us to conceive of Allah that I invite you, mathalan, minhal at home. I say to you, come have food at my house. At the end of the meal, I'm going to ask you about everything that you ate. You'll look at me and you're like, what's wrong with you? Until I've come to your house, you've been hospitable. Then you're going to ask me about that which you gave me? So is Allah really going to ask us about every single bit of water, every khubzaya, every tamraya? Would Allah really have a whole day of judgment just about these things? Doesn't make sense. Allah wanted us to enjoy of that which we had. Yes, there's a mas'uliyah. So what then did Imam al-Sadiq say? ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. He said, all of these are ni'am. Al-may is a ni'mah. Al-tamr is ni'mah. Khubuz is ni'mah. All of these. But this is asking about something greater than all of this. What is it? The ni'mah of our wilayah. That ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ is you will be asked about our wilayah. That is the greatest ni'mah you were given. With our wilayah, أَلْهَاكُمُ التَّكَاثُرُ. Really? Really? You who claim to know my grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen, you claim to know Imam al-Sadiq, you claim to know all of these. Or bil-akhir, you're fighting who has the most links, who has the most cars, who has the most houses, who has the most this, who has the most that. You're a muwali. Al-muwali doesn't lower himself to that level. ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. You will be asked about that family who, if it wasn't for them, you would have been ملتهين بالخالي بلاش بالشغلات التافهة. But it was that family that took you out from jahl and took you to the world of hikmah and ma'rifah and zuhud. The greatest ni'mah given to us is the wilayah of Muhammad and Al Muhammad salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. Someone might say, Sayyidina, what do you mean? I ask you alone from Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Can you name me in any other school of Islam a way of talking to Allah like the ad'iyah of Muhammad and Al Muhammad? Is there a dua that teaches you about akhlaq? Wallah, I've read other schools in Islam try to talk about akhlaq. And they have people who have written different treaties. And someone brings me Maskawi, and someone brings me Ghazali, and someone brings me so and so, and someone brings me so and so. Dua, makaram al-akhlaq. Is there a dua like it? Isn't that a ni'mah? On the day of Ghadir, when that wilayah was complete, did an ayah come down with the word ni'mah inside it? Surah 5 verse number 3. I want our viewers to realize what a barakah it is and what a ni'mah it is to have the wilayah of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. People don't realize just how blessed we are, that we are in the very world of hikmah and ma'rifah. We are blessed to be in the world of the treasures of knowledge. At the beginning, the ayah speaks about which meat is forbidden for you and what's forbidden for you to eat. Then naturally there is this iltifat that occurs within the Holy Quran where there is a change of the subject. What does the Quran say? Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is the ayah revealed after the announcement of the wilayah of Imam Ali alayhi salam in the plains of Ghadir. Do we all agree? الْيَوْمَ يَئِسَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ دِينِكُمْ. That on this day those who have disbelieved have despaired of your religion. فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَخْشَوْنِ. Do not fear them, fear me. الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ. This day I have perfected for you your religion. That should be enough. Should be enough. وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي. Not only have I perfected religion, I have completed my blessings on you, my favor on you. وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. Now, Islam is chosen for you, complete religion. Because you want to know the tafsir of the Quran, this man is the man who will give you what the tafsir was from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You want to know the ta'weel of every ayah? This is the man. You want to know the nasikh and the mansukh? This is the man. You want to know all the knowledge of the prophets of Allah? This is the man. Without Imam Ali alayhi salam's wilayah, then you end up joining different armies, kal farash al-mabthuth. You're scattered everywhere, milal, nahal, going everywhere without knowing which direction is what? As Imam Ali said, أَنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. I am the Sirat al-Mustaqim. When you say, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, you're saying, guide me onto the wilayah and the path of Imam Ali alayhi salam, which is the guidance to the path of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa, which is the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, when the ayah said this ayah, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ. Today, I have perfected your religion and completed my favor upon you. And look at the beauty of completion and perfection. Ana, when I build a house, it's complete, but I perfect it with some paint and with some decoration. A religion can be complete, but it's perfected with the beauty of the teachings of Ali and the sons of Ali. Therefore, for us, that final ayah was saying that on that day, all of you will be asked about the greatest blessing. Not it-tamur wal-may. All of these are blessings, no doubt. But there is no blessing in life like hidayah. Because I don't mind being physically blind, but I do not ever want to be spiritually blind. And for me to avoid the spiritual blindness of lahu, of takathur, I try and hold on to the teachings and the blessings of the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. My dear brothers, thank you all so much. And inshallah, join me very soon as we continue with our tafsir of the Holy Quran. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.